Okay, I'm watching this. Apparently Mamdani is meeting Trump soon, so I love you guys. Be careful, okay? Liberals are such cucks, man. Mamdani going to be put in the cuck chair while Trump jokes about Arabs, immigrants, and New Yorkers so big. I don't think so. Mamdani doesn't seem to carry himself that way. I would be surprised if that was... I feel like Mamdani would get the better of Trump in any live televised conversation. I feel that. I feel that so strongly. I don't know if Trump would even agree to have a live conversation with him. I don't know how aware Trump would be of his weakness there. The thing is that most of the people that Trump talks to, Trump has leverage on. Mamdani is the mayor of New York. He already won his election. He's a Democrat. Trump can't do shit to him. So Trump is like uniquely powerless, like a Joker situation. Like with all his power, there's nothing you can do, you know? If you're Mamdani here, what would be the benefit of asking for a meeting with Trump? It's the president of the United States. What do you mean? Who wouldn't talk to the president of the United States? What do you mean?
Mr. President, I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution. It just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite...
Why? What? Wait, did this happen? When did this happen? What?
His endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I've focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
Mamdani's good at answering questions. Mamdani's very good at answering questions. What do you think about, like... What do you think about the fact that the House just condemned socialism? There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, well, it's kind of an attack against him, kind of. My party's fighting against me. I need to find a way to work with it. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on that we could respond with anger or antagonism. We could just say, you know, fuck him, I don't care about that. Whatever. But like he threads the needle like very well all the time, you know, like I'm not really concerned about what goes on in terms of resolutions, but we both agree that there are things that we need to work on. I am a democratic socialist. So like he doesn't necessarily sell out his position. He doesn't obsess over being antagonistic or trying to make enemies of the people there. And then he tries to find like a common area of agreement. He's very good at answering questions. Yeah.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than...
I think he genuinely likes Mamdani because Mamdani probably smooth talked him already. Trump seems to be in a good mood. Maybe. Mamdani is good at smooth talking. There's also like there are a few places in the United States that people are just very, very, very proud to be from. It wouldn't surprise me if you could find, New Yorkers are fucking obsessed with New York. If you could find one thing one common restaurant they've been to or one New Yorker experience to talk about, it wouldn't surprise me if that like instantaneously, almost permanently endears you to Trump. But I mean, who's to say? Who knows what I thought? It was hard to say, you know. Trump also likes when people are nice to him. And Mamdani is one of the more, I don't know if it'll be permanent or not, but he's one of the more clouded politicians at the moment. AOC and the other big Dems have kind of receded. Newsom is doing his thing. But Mamdani is probably up there, I would imagine, in terms of like name recognition. You're just current, like, I'm not saying like favorability or approval, but just in terms of like people know his name is like a big deal right now. So Trump probably likes, you know, like he like meeting Kanye and everything else, you know.
Mr. President, the cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on. Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that be a question that both of you could answer in New York City.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
You know, we had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, you know, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. You know, it's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down. They were, you know, we had, both of us, we had.
I remember my grandma and grandpa used to say that word, groceries. You guys ever heard that word before? Very old-fashioned. For you really young people, groceries is like, it's like, imagine like DoorDash, but for here. Like imagine you have to go to the DoorDash place, but you like buy it there.
we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration, and we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Jack?
Mr. President, I want to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies.
Oh man, fuck.
And putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything taxes.
I'm so curious what he said to them. What he just said to him. Also, yeah, wait, I'm just curious. This isn't Jack Posobiec, is it? It sounds like him and it kind of looks like him. Is it Jack Posobiec? We should read his book. It's called Unhumans, I think. People tell me that apparently he wrote a book about how all liberals are becoming communists and you need to kill them. It's like some crazy unhinged book. I'm so curious what their fucking conversation was like behind the doors. There's like an interesting phenomenon almost where if Trump thinks he's like on the same team with Mamdani, I'm very curious what Mamdani just whispered to Trump, that as like Posobiec attacks Mamdani or people are trying to attack them, Trump is like, oh look, they're coming after us. Like we're on the same team, blood, right? Like this, like
on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people.
Like how mad, dude, this guy's got to be so fucking mad that he's trying to land like the killer, white man's blow here. And then his fucking wannabe white nationalist president is just like kind of like riffing with him in the middle of his quote. This triggered the fuck out of him. Oh my God.
In general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability, we focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the president and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in
But
our
to be
city.
clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
That's what you said.
no, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel
Please, go ahead.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in
Oh,
New York.
he's so fucking
Are you
mad.
concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you've threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad, and we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very much today, we'd like to see him come down ideally by building a lot of additional housing.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great.
somebody was like, one of you guys said like, I bet he just went in and was like, they call you a Nazi and they call me a communist, and that's we're both better than that or whatever. Like, yeah. God, he's so manipulatable. Is there a word there? He's so easy to control. If you like glaze him up a little bit, I bet that sometimes even I do this. I think people sometimes analyze Trump at too high of a level. You can probably come like pretty down to a pretty bare bones fundamental level too, and that Trump probably feels really isolated right now, right? Trump is like cutting off like Marjorie Taylor Greene. They've had a lot of bad press rolling out recently. It's just been really rough. And now like this fellow New Yorker guy's coming out, extending an olive branch, saying that like, hey, we agree on a lot of the same agenda and everything. Like, we just might disagree in some areas, but like, let's find cooperation. Like, I wonder if Trump is just like looking for a lifeline or just like some kind of like island of stability here. And Mamdani kind of offered it.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
Jesus. Like, I guess I don't remember all the statements Trump made, but wasn't he saying like a few weeks ago that like fucking New York is about to be 9/11, Sharia law? Wasn't he? It's so crazy how quick, like this guy has no opinions about anything. He's like the weakest version of a man. He's so hollow and empty. And We're watching this happen right now, okay, with Mamdani, and we might think that this is like cool and good, and he was trying to get Mamdani deported or calling for citizenship to be revoked, right? We might think that like, wow, Mamdani is a good politician, blah, blah, and he is. But keep in mind that as nice as this is right now, imagine how scary this is when Trump is talking to people like Stephen Miller, right? If he's this easily turned by people like Mamdani, then you better believe that the people that are in his ear more often have far more influence over this administration than any of us would like to think.
But in many ways, we would discuss.
Or even scarier, people like Putin, who are controlling him in terms of like foreign negotiations.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every
Who is this fucking ghoul? This fucking loser.
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
Did you?
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. I mean, he's
And he even cuts her off to save him. Oof.
working very hard for him to be. That's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. The plane takes you 30 minutes, and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
The thing is, when Trump says it's probably true, he probably actually, in this case, he probably has no fucking idea. I don't know what this guy's been doing the past couple of weeks.
Mr. President, peacemaker, and you did a piece in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their
Fuck. Spoiler alert, because there's like a non-zero chance that like Trump could literally just utter out, I think you made a pretty good argument that Israel's committing genocide. There's like a non-zero chance that he would just say it.
their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New
I don't think
Yorkers
he
and their
will,
ability to
but-
afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can
Do
do.
you agree that President Trump did do a peace and he worked hard to make the peace because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere? Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer and Leader Jeffries, have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused in New York City. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Who's really sad right now? Who's really sad right now? Who knows it? Oh, whose heart is breaking right now? Cuomo, Shapiro, Asmongold, Hassan. No, it's Giuliani. That Giuliani used to be Trump's best friend, his right-hand man, making phone calls and rigging shit and doing crazy stuff. And now this new New York mayor. Oh, this new New York City mayor is next to him, and they're having fun and being chummy and.
One more. Go ahead. 1 or 2 more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared.
This is he's so transparent. It's the thing I said earlier. He's getting so much heat from everybody. The happiest I've ever seen Donald Trump, I think, the past maybe ever, but in the past few years, it was after he did the global tariffs, and the whole world was calling his phone, was screaming at him for an interview. And he went to do that. It was some conservative fucking conference or whatever. He was so happy, and you could tell it's because he was getting so much attention. Everybody wanted to talk to him, and I think that is a big reason why he talked to Mamdani here, right? Everybody else is hating him right now. He's catching a lot of flack for the Epstein shit, and MTG and him are fighting everything else. But Mamdani, he's clouded the fuck up. It sounds like Mamdani, extended an olive branch, is glazing him up a little bit, and now he's so transparent. He's so transparent.
Eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone, outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
You see how the Trump dick sucks changing the view on Zoran? Well, it doesn't really matter what MAGA thinks widely about Zoran, right? I think the people at both extremes are going to be very mad about this. I think that the average MAGA probably won't care that much. Like the Fuentes and Candazones type fans are going to be real mad about this, and it'll affirm what they know of Trump, that he wasn't the white nationalist savior they wanted him to be. Although I think people like Fuentes knew that Trump was always just a useful tool, but maybe he's outlived his usefulness. And then obviously the tankies and everybody they're either going to be mad or say Mamdani manipulated Trump, but generally tankies don't care about political effectiveness. So my guess is they would just be more mad than anything else. I don't know. Does this help or hurt Trump's appeal with MAGA's base? They tend to react weirdly to race stuff. I feel like it's like a wash at the end of the day. I don't know how much they'll care now that the election is over. Like, I think that the base kind of got riled up over the New York City election stuff, but it's like, it's New York City. At the end of the day, I don't know if they'll care that much. My guess is that at the end of the day, it's just a wash, but it makes Trump feel good because he's finally getting some positive attention, you know? No, they are super Islamophobe. Maybe, kind of. I don't feel like the Islamophobia shit, like, it felt very manufactured to me over the Mamdani stuff. I feel like I've seen a couple politicians trying to force it, but I think that the immigration stuff, the affordability stuff, Indian H-1B related stuff is way more present in Americans' minds than like fear of Islam. Like we're pretty far removed, I think, now from all the ISIS shit and everything else. I don't know if I feel like the average American cares that much about this at the moment.